getting ready for d4, you know? It's that kind of day where you just feel like you might not get a chance to play the greatest opening you've ever seen. The Taimanov. So good. Expect this, but who knows? Okay, he's doing some interesting move order stuff. Like, he's not playing knight c3, which makes me think after... Yeah, like after he plays knight c3 now, I might play knight e5, honestly. So I'm waiting just because for some reason he wasn't making that move, and it was becoming a little strange. We've seen this position many times before, haven't we? This is bread and butter, I feel like, for this opening now. Now, admittedly, we would maybe normally have the rook on c8 instead of the knight on f6, but still, extremely similar. Yeah, h5, believe it or not, is often a move you'll find in a Taimanov. It's not completely crazy. White often goes for these f3 moves, so h5 I just often don't even need to play. Because I know knight g4 is not happening. It's taking a lot of time here. Okay. I'm gonna stick with the usual here. Nothing out of the ordinary. He is eating his time up. We're finally in the Taimanov. This is what the show is all about. That's what I'm saying, Latin and Blonde. I've been feeling that too. These are not chop blitz games at all. We sure we're not doing a slow bra game here? That doesn't look like a good move, whatever it is. I could take this first if I want. Do I want? I think we want. A Big Fish Smoker, Chess Ninja D1. Yeah, bishop takes, knight takes. Queen takes c2 even looks playable, so I do that. Maybe take. Bishop here. Knight a7, I think. Take that. Like king b8. c8, and we'll kind of run to b7 to safety. Yeah. Now your knight's in a funny spot. Takes. I'm really not sure that this knight is actually escaping. Rook c8. Good game. That was the Taimanov. We finally got one. He actually threw me off in the opening a little bit because he started with the bishop. And if I played b5, the reason I was hesitating, maybe I shouldn't have, b5 is fine. It's because he doesn't have his knight here, so moves like a4 hit much harder because he can develop this knight to d2, whereas previously he would have to move it back, and then like he's like kind of 2 moves ahead here. So that's why I was hesitant to play b5, and that's why I played knight f6. So I wanted to see that knight before I committed to the b5 move. And then we were more or less back to normal. And I don't know, he used a lot of time, and then he just came up with like bishop b5. It should be noted that unless you play something like bishop d6, or unless there's like a queen and a rook lined up for maybe like a checkmate threat if your knight's not developed, like it has to be a really specific position. But these sacks will just generally not work. So more often than not, they won't work, which is a reassuring feeling. It's like if they do work, it's a specific thing that you messed up, and like just don't do that exact thing again. But yeah, really knight takes b5 does not hit like a truck. It really isn't that dangerous. All right, it's time for the Sicilian. Once again, c3, so we must attack the center. We're used to this by now, and I just take and hit him with d6. Knight c3 is kind of the main move. I will threaten the pawn with check, why not? It also adds pressure to the center. And the way that I like to play is queen here, followed by knight d7, and this immediately makes threats in the center. I'm thinking about knight c6. Both moves look good, but both seemingly prepare for pawn takes. Question is, do I want knight here, so I have knight a5, or do I want knight here, which looks like the better move because it leaves the queen hitting the open file. I'm gonna go with this. This is my instinct. This is what I would have done anyway. But queen b3 made me reconsider. Maybe I would want the knight here. Okay. Knight here, knight takes, bishop d6, so immediately challenging. And we're 1 move away from castling, and that will feel great. Once we get castled, we're good. Knight takes here, bishop takes on f4. We do not need to react to this knight move. We can go ahead and do our own thing, take his bishop. We don't need to take back like that. It's fine if you do, but we want to avoid it for the most part. Ahmed, just so you know, let's say I was thinking about a6, b5, bishop b7, or b6, bishop b7, it would definitely be b6. a6, b5, you're going to get hit with a4 later, and you probably don't want to deal with it. So it's not like a6 is bad if you have a reason to do it, but if you don't, it can feel perhaps a little misplaced. Okay, bishop here. Well, here's a reason to maybe play a6, but the one that I like a little bit better is just castling. We could take and go like this, which looks pretty good. If I take, knight takes, and I take here, there's knight takes f8. Takes, knight takes, queen takes, bishop takes, queen takes b7. He's 1 move away from castling. The best it looks like I'll do is claim it back. I'm actually going to play this, I think. Well, that was a bad time to pre-move. That was a bad time for him to pre-move. Bishop takes queen d7, and I think I was just going to roll him on the light squares. That was my plan. g6, maybe reroute that bishop. Yeah, removing there was not the vibe. I know it seems like, oh, I'm losing my queen, but No, we have a bishop and 2 rooks for a queen. This should be completely winning. Would you guys, up a piece, have the confidence to do that? Or would you avoid it? What do you think? Because 3 pieces against the queen should really be walking the park. I'm going to let him have this pawn. Our pawn's going to get to a3, and all I need now is a rook behind the pawn. So, watch this maneuver. Rook here. There's other ways to do this, like rook there and push, but this is just so simple. Rook here. And rook a8. And now we just push. This trades the queens, so that's like my #1 move coming up next. Rook a2 would maybe be the next one, but always just keep your life nice and simple. Nice. This is a really common way for people to play, right? c3. You'll always have to deal with this for the rest of your life in the Sicilian, so get used to it. You need to attack the center pawn. You can do it with d5, but in our particular case, I think knight f6 makes the most sense. Knight d5, and okay, there's lots of ways to play it. I just have always liked takes and d6. Main line is knight c3 people play, and then just try to hit that pawn on e5 with knight d7, and then kettle your bishop, bishop e7, maybe h6. They'll often end up taking you, and your knight makes it to f6, and that's pretty much what the game ends up looking like. Yeah, this is already a really nice position because after bishop e5 we just castle. There's not too many bad things that can happen to us here. So we've already done well. Good opening. I took here expecting him to take back. I would take here, castle, and then I was thinking just b6. And personally, I prefer black, even though it's maybe around even, because I'll play like f6, bishop b7, rook e8, rook c8. I don't know, I like the long diagonal. White's gonna play f3, but still. We have options to maybe attack these weak pawns as well, like clamp down on the light squares. All right, we got the white pieces. So we'll go for c4. We'd like to get d5 because now at least this position is a little bit more like what we want it to be, our position, the Taimanov. Okay, 94. I think we more or less got our setup here. Knight c5 will be annoying. b3, bishop b2. It's been a little bit longer, taken a little bit longer to get my bishop out where I wanted on b2, but every move that we've made has been pretty standard. What's the situation here? Am I scared of that? I kind of am, but I'm a pawn grabber. Through and through. I'm gonna take it. Show me what I am missing. Show me what I'm missing. I want to put this knight on c5. It's like he has a discovered attack, but he has no good squares to put his knight. Be nice to get the queen off this rather dangerous looking file. That knight doesn't look very good. I'd rather take his bishop. Okay. Finish u5 here. Bishop f3. These knights look kind of wrong. Lack of a better word. H6, knight 94, I think. He's kind of threatening that, but not really, because his knight on b7 is just hanging. Also a queen a2 move. Jack. Now we're hitting knight. There's actually no moves for him. Yeah, so this might be close to the end of the line here. Good move. That is after this, queen e1, bishop e5. Yeah, so I think we do need to do this. Honestly, bishop back to f3 looks tempting there. We'll play this. Not bad at all. Yeah, he blundered a pawn, but definitely held in there. We got our setup though a little bit. Obviously a little more convoluted, but all these moves pretty standard. I would say rook b1, b3 is not that standard, but it's also not that standard for there to be a bishop facing our rook this early on. This would be the equivalent in the Taimanov of white having g3, bishop g2 facing you without a pawn in the way. So that's why this was so unusual. Okay, well, we'll definitely start with this. There we go. We got the Sicilian by a different move order. Taimanov. Queen c7. Okay, knight b3, that's fine. We'll continue with a6. Continue with b5. King e2. Okay, so I'm just thinking because bishop here, all of a sudden the extra move you have to consider now is knight c5. So I'm going to start with this move. I think I'm threatening b4 here. And maybe knight g4. So f3 is like a much needed reply. So knight e5. So now knight c5 is not an option. And maybe we have some ideas down the line of knight c4. Okay, rook c8 definitely makes a good impression here. Always good to have that pressure. He's got to be careful. After b4, his knight's almost trapped. Just barely surviving. But surviving. Time for bishop e7. g5 we don't really mind. We have knight c4 as an idea. The one thing about this knight b3 line, which is a little bit unique, is that when you go here, they always have knight a5. I'll be damned if that's not one of the most annoying things in the position. Here, knight a4. Okay, go for this. So knight there, bishop takes, pawn takes. Definitely becomes a little bit interesting. I don't think it's good, but it's a little bit interesting. I think we're gonna end up just going for the usual knight c4, but I kind of liked it. Knight a5, now we have queen e4. So I'm happy that we included this maneuver. Knight b6 is covered. Knight a5, queen e4 is what we were saying. Okay, well, bishop takes looks too good to pass up here. Also, this knight, as far as I can see, is trapped more or less after queen b5. Maybe we should have just gone for that, but okay, bishop e5, or bishop takes e4 rather. How can we say no to that? Queen back, queen takes b4. And if queen here, queen d4. I think I will win the knight, but it will just take some time. But I'm gonna trust the calculation. Queen d4, have to move this bishop. Queen takes there, move the rook to safety, and then it's like, okay, you delayed it, but your knight is still hanging on a4. So he's got one, yeah. But this is really good for us. To exchange the queens like this is super nice. Let's use our rook here. It looks like h4 kind of solves his problems, but no. It's not like, oh, just takes and everything's the exact same. No, my rook is now developed in the absolute best way possible. Take like this. Here there is rook c1, I'm just noticing. Takes rook h1, and I want to go rook h1 anyway. What's the idea here? I'm going rook h1, I'm taking all your pawns. What are you up to? What are you up to? You don't want to take that. Good game again. This time we did get our trusty Taimanov. It worked really well this game, I would say. So a bit of a new move, I would say it's the first time. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think it is the first time we've seen knight b3. Bishop e3. And the main difference is like bishop b7 straight away is a little bit rushed. Because then you deal with this and you don't really want to give up your dark square bishop. So if you're ever faced with this, definitely don't give up your dark square bishop. If anything, lose your light square bishop. But you can play knight f6, rook c8, d6 here. Losing this is all right. Your queen is still pretty well placed there. Do not give up your dark square bishop. And you could even maybe consider bishop c8 and d6 and bishop back to b7 just to fix your problem. But because of that, I started with this. And then in this position, I wanted to play bishop b7, which again is not a bad move, but I like knight e5 to just do away with this threat. And you know knight e5 is such a classic idea in this opening. I mean, this is like the perfect pivot square, so there's nothing weird about this knight e5. And then all of the rest of our moves, I think, are pretty standard for the most part. Maybe I should have played d5 here, but knight c4. The one thing about this this thing is when this happens, you're usually not too happy here. This is okay. It's not a bad position for black, but it's usually a little uncomfortable. White goes f5, and he's really, really quick with his attack. So here, if I did do this move, I would take this way, but I wouldn't be happy about it. Knight d4, and I would go knight c5 to try to put pressure on that. But white would probably go like, I don't know, f5, and just turn into nonsense. So we always want to take with the queen here, keep the c file open, but this knight on b3 is the one exception where you have to be careful playing knight c4 because takes and knight a5 is frustrating. It's always going to be there in this knight b3 stuff. c5. We got our Taimanov. It looks like we're going to get a Smith Mora player. I'm going d3. I'm going knight c6. And my favorite thing to do, g6 followed by d6. They can only assume bishop g7 is coming. This gives me much needed time to play this fantastic move, bishop g4. Get rid of that thing. Don't want it on the board. Queen c7, knight f6 castle. Knight here, I don't think we mind this. Getting castled. Knight d7, maybe knight e5. Knight e5 anyway. Also a pretty good move. Do it now. Not sure he wants to take that. Okay. a6. It's a great move there. That's a special one right there. I'll certainly take that gesture of goodwill. Give me that. Give me that. Yasser wouldn't look at me the same if I didn't take that pawn. Give me this one too. Give me that. Give me that. Okay, now we have to hunt more pawns here. We have to hunt more pawns. Here, bishop b3, bishop or rook d3. This pawn is next to fall. Okay, well, I think we've done more than enough here, have we not? If we go here, it looks like we're blundering more, you know? He's more likely to play on. Now we've gone and done it. Now we've gone and done it. I think this is a interesting case where we may not have to work super hard to keep him trapped in. Let's see. Now we have a expedited corner for my friend here. Got it ready and waiting for you, bud. Here it is. Now we know what we need to do, right? Need to get the knight there. We'll slowly do that. Oh. We had it. It just was unlucky. It wasn't a check. Damn it. It's a little unlucky it wasn't a check, so I realized at the end I had to move my bishop and then do it. It's a little annoying if you ask me. You know what was really throwing me off this game is like my time wasn't going up. I just played a whole bunch of the slow BRAHS. So when I was waiting with my time here, this was me being like instructive. I was actually about to start talking like, so the reason that we want to get the king in a corner is so that we can get this technique. And it didn't like click until right about here when I was like, wait a minute, this time's not going up. Like when I saw the 5-4, I was like, this is a really weird feeling. Playing slow BRAHS all day, getting 10 seconds every move. I was about to start explaining like knight and bishop mate. This is why we bring the king here. Great technique. Let me show you how we bring the king over, but absolutely not the case. Time didn't start going up, and then I was like, oh my goodness, this wasn't what we signed up for. Because if we wanted to maybe, I don't know, attempt the endgame or something with 10 seconds, then I would have just waited to 10 seconds and given it a try. This one was like, obviously I had forgotten about the fact there was no increment because the way that my time went down was really weird. It was like, I had a minute and then I just like, almost looked like intentional. Spent like 20 seconds per move. I was like really taking my time. Well, we're gonna have to play a couple more. Saw Dania do it in about 10 seconds. Sounds about right. Yeah. I think depending on how lucky you are with the initial starting position, you could easily do it in 5 seconds. But depends on the starting position a lot. The hardest part, the thing that takes the most time, is getting it to the side of the board. That's the hardest. But once you have the king on the side of the board, you should be able to do it pretty quickly. Probably 5 seconds is enough. Okay, let's go knight c3. Playing e3. I mean, there are better moves to play here, but I'm trying to keep the theme of the Taimanov alive. Open for this. Nice. Nice. Pawn takes would have just been more annoying. Not really a Sicilian at that point. This one we can still pretend. We can pretend a little bit longer. H4, sure. That's aggressive. That is aggressive. Am I really gonna move the knight though? I can't move the knight. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. We'll have to do it this way. Whether or not this makes sense is another story. But retreating the knight is absolutely the wrong direction. King f2, rook here. This would be a friendly move. Holy cow! Knight takes on e3. Is my friend okay? Is he good? That was a surprising move. That was a really surprising move. Honestly wondering if maybe that's a move, but I'll do this. I'll go ahead and do this. That move, not sure if it could be worse. That's up for debate right now. Pre-move that, right? Exactly, Anthony. Exactly. Gotta pre-move queen g7. I guess this is now an idea. Surely has to be long castle. Purdom, please, says Czech Manarov. You want us to find the way here, Czech? Ooh, rook f8. He's really asking to be hurt with that move. Good God. Czech Manarov wants us to lay the hurt. Okay, Czech. I'm laying the hurt. The hurt has been laid. You said lay the hurt, right? There's the hurt. Is this what you had in mind? I'm just here to deliver. Ow. Ow. That's gotta leave a mark. That's gonna leave a mark. He was asking for it though. Look it, buddy. One single pawn is doing all that to him, making him dance funny. That's the insane thing about this position, right? Is I only need the rooks. So if you take all these pieces off the board, it's still forced mate. Crazy. It's really uncomfortable for the guy. All right, C4. I think this is our 2K game. Okay, he's basically pre-moving. Now you slowed down, didn't you, bud? Okay. This move looks like you're going to be in a world of hurt. Okay, you want this. I have 94. I also have F3. '94 though definitely feels like the right idea. How do we lay the hurt here? Because D5 is legitimately annoying. I want to make sure to keep the energy up in the position. So let's go here. This is how we keep the energy up. F3. Now the energy is flowing. Okay, there's F4. But we don't want to just win material, right? That's the thing. We want to make sure we're crushing the position. I'm gonna play G3, strange move. Wow, he's an impressive guy. Here, or actually rook back, that's what I was thinking. And then go rook G1. Somehow this feels like a funnier move. I like it. Rook back to H1 and rook G1. Because really, I just wanted this stupid G-pawn out of the way. That's why I played G3 immediately, because I was like, take me, please. I want to go here. Rook F5. He's at least losing his queen here. But am I in the market for a queen? No. No, I don't care about your queen. Keep her. I'm looking to go for the king. I'm looking to go for the king. Let's see here. I don't want your queen. I maintain it. I stand by what I said. There's a lot of tempting moves here. A lot of tempting moves here. I'm just gonna move the king. Show you how much time I have. I don't have a lot of time. I thought about it. I have a lot of time. That one feels a little wrong. Okay, I'll let you live. Good game. No more appropriate game to hit 2,000 on than that. Nothing more appropriate. 2001. GG. Alright, we got 2,000. We'll be continuing. We will be continuing. But I'll leave it there for today, for tonight. 2,000 is a good place to stop. 2K. Didn't do the maiden one just to flag. That's me, you know? I had to. I had to.